The most important meal of the day, second breakfast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth alongside Phil Duvall. Say hi, Phil.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Andy,
how are you?
I'm better than you because you're freaking out about the World Series, and I'm better off because my team is just nowhere near the World Series.
It's true.
My team's getting some. You know what? The Red Stockings of Cincinnati are getting some well-needed rest.
The Redlegs, the Cincinnati Redlegs.
Red Stockings, but yes.
Well, they were also the Redlegs. Tough guy.
I don't want to fight. I love you too much.
I know, folks. There are a couple things going on. First off, we are literally recording this during a World Series game, so if I just start screaming, either in joy or just an expletive-filled rage rant, you'll know that it's because something either good or bad has happened to the Astros.
And Andy, can you
Phil.
tell the folks at home why you care at all about this World Series, other than the fact that you are an avid sports fan and baseball admirer?
I mean, that's enough of a reason. It's my team.
It would be, but for you, there's your team. But Andy, you live in
Yes.
North Carolina. How are you an Astros fan?
Because I was born and raised in Houston. Everyone watching this episode knows where I'm from.
Andy, you listen. There could be people in Australia watching this right now.
There could be.
And they don't know where you're from.
Don't they?
Our Evan could be watching, and he used to know where you were from, but who knows what they've done to him over there? I don't know.
Right? Who knows? It's
Scrubbed his brain clean.
It's functionally the deer hunter. He's functionally living the deer hunter right now.
He's walking in that. He's Christopher Walken in that. So I'd be.
Yep.
Now I'm officially scared of Evan.
Okay. I feel not close. I feel far away.
So Andy is a Houston native.
Indeed.
A child of the city of Sam Houston. And he's rooting for the Astros, who are in their what is this their second World Series appearance of all time?
Their second World Series after 2005.
Yeah, that was when they played. Don't tell me, was that the White Sox?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were.
All right, so it's an exciting time.
We are the first team ever to win the National League pennant and the American League pennant.
Oh man, thank God for the designated hitter. Otherwise, you wouldn't have won it this time. So that's good.
Well, I mean, everybody we're playing so far has had the designated hitter. So
you're not wrong, Andy. But let me just say this: you're not wrong. But let me just say this: one, is it really? And two,
yep.
I am a designated. Darn it, Andy. I am. It doesn't feel like a level playing field when the Reds are playing. That's all I'm saying. Andy, what I want to say to you is that I am a designated hitter agnostic.
Okay.
I am a baseball fan, as you know,
mm-hmm.
who is utterly ambivalent about whether or not there is a designated hitter in the game. I don't like everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and I promise you, when I'm watching a game with a designated hitter, I'm like, clearly, like, why would you do it any other way? And when I'm watching one without the designated hitter, I'm like, sure, this makes sense too. I just don't. It doesn't.
You're such a
one
hipster.
Is not. One is no. I wish no. A hipster would have an opinion. I'd be riding around on a fixed geared bike, like having opinions about things with my tight pants. But the reality is, I don't. I like watch it, and I'm just like, honestly. It's baseball, man. I don't think one is more pure than the other. And I don't care. I'm happy. It's a good show. Like play the game. I would like if they actually. I don't even care about that. I was gonna say I'd like if everyone picked one and stuck to it. But honestly, I don't even care about that. I don't care at all.
Sure.
Doesn't mean a thing to me.
Fair enough.
Makes me a bad fan, probably. I think if I was a better fan, I'd care.
I'm just gonna throw out there that I have a lot of power. We have a lot of power. Being internet celebrities, and if I wanted to convince people that you were wearing that Reds hat, ironically, I could do it.
Yeah, that hurts.
It out there. I could.
Can I ask you a question, though?
I see no way of stopping you.
You just stopped me. I'm done.
No. Tell me.
How does one wear a baseball cap ironically? Like you mean I don't really care about the Reds. I'm wearing the hat.
Exactly.
But everyone knows that I care about the Reds. Andy, I live in Cincinnati, the Queen City.
The way everyone knows I care about the Astros?
Well, fair enough, but now that they know that I live in Cincinnati, the Queen City, it's hard to argue. Home of the first baseball team in the league. It's hard to argue with the idea that I'm wearing this hat, ironically.
It's true. You know what's weird to me? That there's only one team that's the first professional baseball team, right?
Right, they had, like, what were they doing?
Right? It
was just like they incorporated the day before the second team, right? That's it. Right. Like, I don't know who the second team was, because who cares? Because they're not the Cincinnati Reds.
That's right.
But I think you're right.
It's like, wait. They're getting paid? But
I also like, they're like, so we're professional baseball players. Well, who do we play against? Oh,
none.
Right.
Professional baseball players. So
do you watch The Last Man on Earth?
I do not. I have seen it, but I don't watch it religiously.
So he has a catchphrase for when like, that's you're just get used to on the show. Mm-hmm. When something goes wrong, he just goes, "Oh, farts," which is dumb, but right. He says it so much that you just you're in. So,
all right, cool.
Anyways, that was the Cincinnati Reds when they realized that there were no other professional teams.
Nice. So, as you could clearly tell, folks,
let's talk about the Game of Thrones
of this podcast. This is a Game of Thrones podcast, and so diving directly into Game of Thrones, Phil, we lost Robert Guillaume today.
I know, man. Tell me about how Robert Guillaume entered your life.
So, his two biggest or most famous roles, it was actually the same role on two different shows. On Soap, he played the butler Benson. And then
it's true.
And then he played Benson on the spin-off titled, stunningly, Benson.
Wow.
And he was magnificent. I guess I don't know this, but I'm certain he won Emmys. He was the best part of Soap, and that was a great show. And Benson was a great show in its own right. And I had seen, growing up in syndication, I had seen episodes of both, but I didn't recall them when he entered my life for real in, I want to say 1998. Oh, except for the fact that his voice entered my life as
Rafiki in The Lion King. That's for many people in our generation. That's the entry point.
Yes. Correction. I know your father. Yeah. Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. So.
Hooray for supernatural afterlife talk. Okay. So, anyways, continue.
So he was on the Aaron Sorkin's first television show, Sports Night.
That's right. And that was a show that you were a fan of.
Yes.
Of which you were a fan. My apologies.
It's okay. The preposition not ending a sentence, it's fine. It's fine.
Mm.
No.
Allison Fastow may watch this at some point, and I need her to know that I'm trying.
Try rules that matter. This one's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Allison, don't at me, bro. Don't at me. Don't at me.
Please.
So yeah.
So Guillaume, I remember seeing Benson when I was a kid,
mm-hmm.
and then had no idea it was a spinoff. And then Soap started showing up on Comedy Central,
mm-hmm.
and I was at this age, my teenage years, where I just watched anything on Comedy Central.
Yes.
Which is not to say I wouldn't have watched Soap otherwise. Mm-hmm. It was good, but that's how I got into it, was on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, hey, that's funny. This is me, by the way, as a teenager. Hey, that's funny. He plays a guy named Benson on this show, too.
What odd and mysterious typecasting.
It took me time to figure that out, because I'm not smart. So by the time he showed up as Rafiki, I was already into him. But that was really it. I never watched Sports Night other than when you made me. And but literally Benson and Soap was enough for me. I loved him forever.
That's a career. He is so wonderful, and he has such a wonderful dignity to him.
Yeah.
Yes. He is everything he says, it's like, oh, well, of course, because the man with the most dignity in the world has just said it. And he is,
true.
I mean,
like, who are people that you would like? Yeah, yes. I'm just trying to think of who would be more trustworthy than him, and I got nothing.
Yeah, like Walter Cronkite.
Maybe.
You're right, maybe.
Even he had moments where I wasn't sure, but
sure.
Robert Guillaume, I'm in.
Yeah. So yeah, and Aaron Sorkin, say what you will about his plots and even his dialogue, but the man can write the hell out of a speech, right? The man can write the hell out of a speech.
Oh sure, yeah. No, that's his like preferred oeuvre.
And
he loves to speechify.
And Guillaume speaking a Sorkin speech,
sure,
it's like watching Shakespeare played the way it was meant to be played. And that, by the way, is a Sports Night quote. So there you go.
There you go. So it must be true.
So it must be true. So rest easy, Mr. Guillaume, and thank you. Speaking of dead people, let's segue into episodes.
So many dead people.
7 and 8 of Game of Thrones season 1.
My goodness.
You win or you die, and the pointy end. So.
Yep.
Here's what I want to say about episode 7. You win or you die.
Yep.
Tywin.
So, yes. Tywin Lannister, introduction to Tywin. For the entire time that he is a part of the show, he is always one of the best parts of the show, and an example of someone being able to be a villainous type of person that you absolutely relish seeing on the screen. So Joffrey, as people who are new to the show are finding out, and as people who've watched it before already know well, is one of those villains that it's not that you just like love to hate is an interesting phrase, like,
right.
Because I don't know anyone loves anything about it. Like, I think people hating him. Like, I think people are miserable watching Joffrey.
Yes.
Which I think is the intended consequence. But I don't think people enjoy how awful he is.
Right.
But there's something
right.
There's something enjoyable about the kind of awful that Tywin is.
Yes.
He is a classic villain in the sense of, like, he's the kind of villain that you respect even as you want him to be even as you say you're a villain and I want you to lose.
Right. I hope you fail, but I got to respect the game. Right.
But
you came to play.
Right, and because there's something about someone being intelligent that makes you enjoy them.
Yes.
Intelligent and principled.
Yes.
So bad guys with principles, smart bad guys with principles are interesting.
Yes.
And Cersei, even at her best or at her worst, there's something and I don't always like her at all, but there's something enjoyable about her. She follows in her dad's footsteps in the sense that she sort of has that idea of we're like Lannister, no matter what Lannister, matter what Lannister. But I would say, episode 7 for me, he's the best part of it. Episode 7 is to me a perfect example of the best and the worst of Game of Thrones in one episode.
Okay, say more.
It's got a whole scene that is basically softcore pornography of two women doing interesting things to one another in plain view. Like that's while a character just lays out a monologue of sheer exposition. It is, but the problem is Game of Thrones does not set itself up. So like Deadwood, for instance, the show, one of the shows by which you and I measure all other things, is a show that there can be soliloquies. A character can hold forth.
Sure.
Because it sets up that sort of – it sets that up. It sets up that kind of place.
Right.
Whereas Game of Thrones doesn't do that. Game of Thrones doesn't set itself up for soliloquies. It doesn't have that kind of land. So when you have a character doing a whole monologue where he's essentially talking to someone else, they have to make it seem like they're talking to someone else. And in this case, he's talking to two prostitutes as he directs them to do, interesting things to each other. And it doesn't fit. It's only there. It's literally there, like, because HBO was like, get dirty, or maybe it was in the plot. So maybe it was in the book. So George R.R. Martin's a dirty bird, and that's fine too.
Sure.
But it doesn't exist for any purpose.
No.
It is from a monologue standpoint, it's a failure because it's sheer exposition with no. Why would he wouldn't tell prostitutes what he told them? He wouldn't tell anyone what he said out loud. So It's meant to exist almost like a soliloquy, except that it is set up within the narrative of a world where there aren't people holding forth, like breaking the fourth wall and talking to us. So it is literally the only way it works is if he's telling someone else. But it doesn't make sense for Littlefinger to tell anyone what he tells those women, much less that he would tell prostitutes that. And it doesn't make any sense for them to be doing what they're doing while he tells them. Like, it doesn't fit in any way. And it's creepy and it's gross. And, I'm all for creepy and gross in certain contexts. But it really is. It doesn't. Here's what it really is. It's bad filmmaking.
So
because it doesn't fit.
So when I told my fiance that we were shooting this podcast, she was like, "You're going to talk about like what are you going to talk about? Were there boobs?" And it's been over a week since I've watched episode 7, and so I couldn't remember. And but I was like, look,
there were lots of things.
I was like, look, it's early on in the show, and apparently it settles down, but I don't think there's a 2-episode stretch this early in the show where there are no boobs, so there's got to be boobs. And
it's really the first 2 seasons, I think.
I think what that is basically telling everyone what you just said, which is like it's not effective. It just isn't effective. It's not even, and as a matter of fact, it's not even effective as shock value. The way the moment with what's her name, Roz, flashes her business at Theon in the previous episode, because at least that is so over the top and quick that it lands.
It's kind of ridiculous and it kind of works.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's dumb, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
This it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Tywin. Because I want to go back to this.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
My apologies.
No apology necessary. I just want to say one thing. I can't imagine a more satisfying introduction to that character than have him do 35 to 40% of the job of taking apart a carcass, as his that is his introduction. It's just he is methodical and surgical in his violence, and that is I mean that's Tywin.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yes, it is.
It is a perfect introduction to the character. It helps us. And here's the other thing. The Lannisters are so god-awful, and they're rich, but you don't understand anything else about them. And I think it would be really silly to just have them be rich bad guys, because whatever. I mean, that you could do it, but I would be bored.
Sure.
You wonder how could the Lannisters have gotten into a position of any kind of authority with who we've seen so far.
Right. So
Jaime Lannister is a talented swordsman, but there's no reason to assume anything special about him other than that. Cersei's married to the king. Why? What about the Lannisters? Their kids suck. So what's the deal? Well, the deal is Tywin is amazing. I mean, that's the deal. They're like you start to see now a father. Although you have to. I also say this. How great is a father if all 3 of his kids are disasters? But but he was great at certain things, right? Mm-hmm. He wasn't necessarily a good daddy, but he right. But he was a great he understood the importance of the name and how to further it.
Sure.
So he gets his daughter married off to the king.
That is, by the way, literally 0 people's definition of a good father, but That's not me.
I would say no, more than 0. Getting your daughter married off to the right guy is actually, like Andy, a surprising amount of the people in the world. Maybe not Americans.
Fair enough.
No, I'm being serious. Like,
no, fair enough.
Like, did you see The Big Sick?
I did.
When he's from Pakistan, right? And he says arranged marriage, or as they call it in Pakistan, marriage.
Right.
So anyways.
So I guess I have certain I have a few objections here. One is the implication that Robert is the right man, even being the king.
I think he's exactly the. I mean, look what happens.
Sure.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue. What are your other bad objections?
But that's not the result of like. Let us not forget that there's a lot of bad luck here, and yes, we can say like, ooh, the Lannisters would have found, or Cersei would have found a way to get rid of Robert and yada yada yada. But if Ned hadn't been a total idiot, she wouldn't have had the opportunity. No. He's a wonderful guy. Ned, Eddard, I love you. You were an idiot. Like, you were an idiot in these episodes.
Ugh. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Why?
As
Varys says to him, why would you do that? Like, why?
You're skipping ahead to episode 8. I guess we can talk about both of them at the same time. I think, as taken as a whole, why would he trust Littlefinger? I mean, I think his biggest my problem with Ned is that his biggest downfall is a downfall that I wish was never a downfall.
And that's like, too trusting.
Yeah. Well, that he's honest. That he's honest and trusting, and honestly, even if he doesn't like Cersei and he thinks she's terrible and he thinks she's wronged her husband, he does tell her because he thinks maybe she'll get out of here. He doesn't think. Now he's wrong and he's dumb in that sense. Right. But he's it's like he's dumb for all the reasons that I'm dumb or would like to be dumb. I'd like to be dumb the way Ned Stark is dumb.
I'm going to make an argument.
That's the right way to be dumb.
I'm going to make an argument, and I hope it's not just a semantic argument, but I don't think you're right in that his downfall is that he's honest. He is honest, okay? But I think his downfall is, and I'm going to separate it. I'm going to say that his downfall is that he's too trusting. As in, it's all well and good to trust people and to give them the benefit of the doubt, but when people have proven to you that they are not trustworthy, you need to be discerning. And the reason that I will say that's his fault...
he trusts Littlefinger, he trusts Cersei.
The reason that I'll say that's his downfall and not that he's too honest is simply this. If he were 100% honest, the whole, Jon Snow, who were your parents thing would not be an issue. Because Catelyn is horrible to Jon because she thinks something that isn't true.
Right.
And Jon goes seasons, months, years. How long in the show are we through season 7? Not knowing some basic important information about himself, and so
so he's honor bound, but it's like he's honor bound in a way that makes it.
Yeah, because I'm not going to sit here and say he's wrong to do that. I just don't think that we can call him honest in all situations, and that's fine.
So honor bound is different than honest, right? Because if I'm honor bound to you, I might lie to others about you for your sake.
That's exactly right. And it's just.
But you know what? And I like that too. That's my problem.
No,
my problem is I just want everything about him to be right. And
sure.
I mean, I'm telling you, I watched the entire first season, just being like, well, when Ned's king, ...
Right.
Yeah. But anyways.
Yeah.
So back to the illicit sex exposition.
Sure. Sexposition.
Yeah. That sounds awkward. My problem with it is that it's cynical. It's cynical. It's a cynical way to tell a story. It's Because all it feels like to me is them being like, well, uh, so we're going to give it to them. We think people want this. It's not for the story.
Yeah.
If it's not for the story, what's it for?
Yeah.
It's for and the fact that it is what some people want does not make it better.
Right. That's right. That's right.
That's all. I guess I just want to say it's cynical storytelling, and I see some of that. I mean, one of the reasons why when I would say Game of Thrones is not one of the best shows on television, or not, well, because it is actually pretty great. Why it's not one of my favorite shows ever, even though I'm enjoying it thoroughly and watching it all over again, which should mean I should love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the first few seasons, it falls to actually throughout its run. There are times when the showrunners, I don't trust them fully, because there are times when I think that they really are. Like I trust the people who made Mad Men.
Sure.
So they could do 2 or 3 episode stretches where I wasn't sure what they were doing or what it was trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
But
you were okay with it.
Yeah, because it always paid off, even when I didn't, and it might have paid off in a way I didn't like, but it was still a payoff, if that makes sense. And I always felt like they were being true to the story they were telling. And I can't help but feel when I watch Game of Thrones that there's still times when the showrunners are basically doing something because they think they're supposed to, or doing something because they think they're, it's what people need, like want. Or if it's
I'm gonna make an analogy because yes, Mad Men, yes, I would put Breaking Bad in there. I'd put The Wire in there. I'd put The Sopranos in there.
Yeah.
But on television right now, my favorite show on television right now is The Americans.
Yeah.
And the season,
if it's not my favorite, it's in the conversation.
And the season that just finished earlier this year.
The season where nothing happened?
Nothing happened. And it was still it was still glorious. It was why? Because I trust them. Because I trust them. And am I a bit of an apologist? Maybe. But
no, it was great storytelling,
exactly.
and nothing happened in the sense that we watch shows. We watch this new generation of shows where everything is serial. And you and I are in a Facebook group where we were talking about this online a little bit recently, where everything is serial and nothing is episodic, which is kind of obnoxious. This new generation where that's the case, you judge a show now by between the beginning of the season and the end of the season. Where did it get us? That's how we judge shows now. We didn't used to do that.
That's true.
Right? You watched the first thing that came to my mind for some reason was the Cosby Show, but which I guess we're not supposed to talk about that anymore. But that was a huge show in our lifetime. No, I was right, and you didn't watch the show going, "What happened this season?"
That's true. That's true.
Or Seinfeld. Seinfeld's the greatest sitcom of all time, on network sitcom of all time, and there's nothing that's going to unseat that or hasn't in a while. And you didn't watch a season of Seinfeld. I'm watching them all right now, and you never watch a season of Seinfeld going. I mean, there were little minor subplots that would exist over a season, but you didn't watch Seinfeld going, "What happened this season?" So what's fascinating about The Americans is they did a whole season of a serial show, of which there's only going to be one more season, right? Isn't there only one more season or
next
2?
Season
one more season.
Next season.
And they did a whole season where technically nothing happened, although plenty of things did happen.
Yes.
But they're in virtually the same place at the end as they were in the beginning. Virtually.
Yes.
So we're even talking about it saying, but what happened? Now, the thing about Game of Thrones that's both fascinating and good and bad, it is what it is. It's neither inherently good nor bad, is you watch the show and it is absolutely inextricably and at all times moving towards an endpoint.
Yep.
Always. It is moving towards an endpoint completely and totally.
True. Yes.
So there has to be something not only that happens every season, but there has to be something that happens like every episode.
Yep.
And there's so many characters that are always moving that it has to be about something. So they had to figure out, how are we going to put sex into this?
Right.
And then they're like, well, we'll have to tell story because we need to make sure that we understand something about Littlefinger's motivation.
Yeah.
But it's lazy and it's boring. It's lazy storytelling.
I'll go further, mostly so I can just bring in another show that I love, and say, even a serialized show. My favorite show of all time is Friday Night Lights. And
is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It's my top 3. So
It's certainly in the discussion.
So,
It's certainly in the
yes,
discussion. But
top 3.
I would never say, and look, I've watched it several times, so I could tell you what happens in each season. And each season follows roughly a season of the football team.
Yeah.
But it's never like, but it's not, on an episode to episode basis, it's not like we need to get here by the end of the season.
That's
so
right.
Let's do
That's
some
right.
things.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Everything. Right. Everything is in service. Everything is in service of the story the way it needs to be told, not in service of the endpoint they're trying to get to.
So, 100%. Now, let me just say this. Now that we've said all that.
Yep.
I think I've talked myself into this just now.
Okay.
I think I love that every single moment of Game of Thrones builds towards something.
Sure. Again, it's not as you say, it's not inherently good or inherently bad. Yeah.
But in this case, that's some Mammoth-like storytelling, right? Like the idea that everything goes towards the thing.
Sure. Fair enough.
There's something about efficient storytelling that I love.
Mm-hmm.
So when Game of Thrones does it, I love it, and when they don't, I think it's one of the strengths of the show, which is why it gets so frustrating sometimes when it feels like they're dragging ass, or when they're just kind of like, which they haven't dragged ass so far. Like first season they were so busy trying to figure out how to make sure to get it working,
right?
That it just that it and how do we fit all of these characters in and like you could see them trying to make, and the great thing was they had so much material they had to sift through.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So anyways,
let's turn more of our attention to the second episode we're discussing.
Was there anything else you need to say about the so the end of this the
end
of the
I like the end where
you die is Ned getting arrested.
Yes. Yes.
But before he gets arrested, there's just some great moment. I mean, him marching. The thing is, it works so well because him marching into the Citadel or into the throne room, and the things he said. I mean, it works so beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know how dastardly the show's going to get, you totally think he's got him dead to rights.
Yep.
And he says all the right things. What I love about Ned is he is exactly the kind of character where when he says the cool, like the honorable thing,
mm-hmm.
like the thing, like this is the thing, like the solemn, somber thing, it makes sense.
Yes.
Because he actually is that person.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pitch perfect. Sean Bean is pitch perfect on this show.
Yeah. Yes. He does a really
That's
nice
all.
job.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. And it is
I'm so
a
used to
lovely
him
end.
playing characters who are either villains or are conflicted villains, essentially, either villains or like deeply flawed characters.
Right.
That there's something beautiful about him just being a ridiculously honorable good man.
Sure.
That's all. Still
a bit of an idiot.
I hate you.
I know. I hate me, but I'm not wrong.
Is 7 the episode in which Robert dies?
I am almost positive. Yes.
It's great. It's great stuff.
Yes.
Great stuff.
Yes.
I don't know why he waits till he's dead when he says, like, don't give this to anybody till I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Why not just call everyone in?
Stop it.
Right?
Stop it. Here's the deal. I say this out of love. Ned annoys the hell out of me. Because it's like...
No, that's Robert's decision. Robert kicks everyone out of the room.
Right.
And then says to Ned the one thing, and then says, I'm going to sign this and don't give it to anybody until after I'm dead. Why didn't he bring everybody in the room and say, you all are a witness to this thing that I'm saying?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. The thing that makes me crazy that Ned didn't do was tell Robert about Joffrey and about his kids. It was like he was doing that thing
where he's like, well, I don't want to upset him before he dies.
Exactly. And
dude, upset him before he dies.
Right.
He needs to be a little upset.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your wife is cheating on you, but I don't want to upset you, so I'm going to do the honorable thing. No, dude, no. right?
Yeah.
And again, this is not me
Stop
calling.
being honorable for the
This
love
is
of God.
not me calling Ned not honorable. He is
No,
honorable
I
to a
know.
fault.
I know. It's
This is
just
the
exhausting.
fault. This is the fault. Like it.
What is this? What is this fake world coming to?
He can't like just as bluntly as possible, right? Like he cannot have thought the concept "you win or you die" for the first time when Cersei says it to him, right? He has to know, he knows how the world works. He does. He's old enough to know. And
Okay.
and
You're
yet he
not
behaves
okay.
another
Let's
way.
talk about it. You're not wrong. Let's talk about episode 8.
Lots of interesting stuff here. Ice zombies.
Ice zombies are it's the first moment of real ice zombies.
Yes. Khal Drogo pulling a man's tongue out of his face.
Maze ball.
Yes.
Khal Drogo's a blast. That woman is gonna kill him, but he is amazing.
It's true. You
Ugh.
know someone who I love to hate?
Tell me.
That dude at the Night's Watch who's like the trainer.
Oh my gosh, Krista hates him so much.
He like
she says he looks like the weatherman.
Like
she says he looks like a weatherman, which is an insult in her book.
Here's the deal. He needs to thank is it Jack Gleason? Is that the name of the young man who plays Joffrey? Who
yeah.
I have to keep saying this. By all accounts, he's like the sweetest person in the he
don't care.
He
plays the devil.
He's quitting acting to become like a vet. He's just right. He's like a lump of sugar.
I think he's donating every single organ in his body to a homeless person until he dies. I think that's his plan.
That's right. He's just apparently just a lovely person. The guy who plays Alistair Thorne, the trainer of the Night's Watch, needs to thank Jack Gleason, because otherwise no one would say anything about Game of Thrones that wasn't, that dude has the most punchable face in the entire world.
You know, Andy, I'm a big fan of nonviolence and turn the other cheek,
and yet,
etc., etc. I want him punched in the face. I want him punched in the face ad nauseum. If there was a whole episode where he just got punched in the face by different people, I'd call that the greatest episode of Game of Thrones of all time. Hey, do you remember that episode when that guy just got punched in the face over and over again?
And over again.
You remember that? Emmy. Oh, you mean the Emmy-winning episode?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Can you imagine in the writers' room when they're trying to break the story? I have an idea. We're going to take the trainer, and then people are just going to punch him in the face. And then wait a minute. Who's going to punch him in the face? Everybody. Ice zombies. Are they going to bite him? Now they're going to punch him in the face.
It's going to be that. It's going to be that scene from Airplane where they all line up to slap the
girl in the face.
Yes.
Shake, smack.
Yes.
Shake, smack.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And they're going to call it. They're going to call it. You win or get punched.
Glorious.
Yes.
Oh,
Silvio Farrell.
Inigo Montoya's father?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, his scene is perfect.
Yes.
That is a perfect scene.
Yes.
From beginning to end.
Yes.
That is perfection.
Yes.
It is beautiful.
Yes.
Even to the point of showing his death off screen.
Yes.
Perfection.
Yes.
Everything he says.
Yes.
And I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Him beating all those guys down with a wooden sword is amazing.
Yes.
Ugh.
It's wonderful.
It's great. It really is great.
Yep. Let's talk more about let's talk. I'd like to talk a little more about the ice zombies, and I want to talk about the end of this episode because it kind of didn't. The end of this episode was just like, oh, we've reached like an hour, so let's just have a black screen show up, which was weird. But first, ice zombies.
Let's talk about ice zombies for a second. How do you feel about them as classified as zombies, Andy?
I'm not.
You're a zombie purist.
I'm a zombie aficionado.
No, wait a minute. You are a zombie aficionado.
Yes.
But you're also a zombie purist.
I don't know how true that is, because I also like things like Return of the Living Dead.
You like it, but would you call it a zombie movie?
Yes.
Well, then I don't understand anything about anybody anymore.
I just don't like fast zombies. And yet, Return of the Living Dead is fast zombies.
Can you bleep me? Like, is that a thing you can do?
No.
Oh. Well, this is a PG podcast.
Hey, everybody under the age of 18.
No, it's a PG.
No, okay.
Right. Fast zombies are bullshit. That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh,
that's as bad as it's gonna get,
bro.
That's the worst language we've ever used on this show,
bro.
But I think I'm gonna use it here,
bro.
Fast zombies are bullshit. I know they are.
Totally agree with you.
It's
totally
just. Now that being said, 28 Days Later is a glorious film.
Yes, it is a glorious film. It's just not a zombie movie.
It's, you know what it's not?
Zombie movie.
It's not a zombie film.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay, hold on.
So, are they zombies?
Hold on, no.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. The reason 28 Days Later isn't a zombie movie isn't because they run. It's because they're infected and they starve. They die. They're
not actually dead.
They're not dead and then reanimated, and they're not invincible except for a blow to the brain. Like that's.
Oh man, you know what that means? It means they're not zombies.
It sure does. It sure does mean that. That is.
See, that's an easy argument.
I know.
And as we speak right now, the Astros of Houston have lost Game 1 of the World Series. And I just want to say, Andy, there's 7 games.
You know, not if we play like we play tonight.
No, that's not true. For Andy, got Verlander coming up tomorrow.
You're right.
And 3-1 is a respectable loss.
Against Kershaw, that's true. Let's move on before I have to bleep myself a lot more than I'm going to have to bleep you.
I wanted to acknowledge what happened on the screen because I care about
you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Okay. So anyhow, go ahead. So about ice zombies, are they zombies?
I don't know enough yet.
They're dead.
Are they? They are.
Yes.
That's true.
They're dead, and they're reanimated.
They seem to be zombies. I don't know much about them because hold up, because these people, zombies, people, walkers, whatever they are. Quick reminder for everybody out there: I am a rewatcher of the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. I stopped watching after the first episode of season 4. I don't know why, but in those 3 seasons, there isn't a ton of White Walker stuff. So I don't have a lot of information to go on here. They seem to be zombies.
I'm interested. So this is gonna be a continuing conversation as we watch the show.
I have no doubt.
Zombies or no. I will say, and I don't think this is a big spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm almost 100% positive, and I could be wrong, but I'm almost 100% positive that killing the brain is not the way with them.
Sure. Well, with these,
so there's something else.
Sure. Well, with these guys, it so far it appears to be fire.
Fire is one of the ways.
Okay.
There's as far as we know 2 ways.
Oh, I think I know the other way. I will preserve the mystery for first time watchers.
Thank you.
So yeah. The most important thing to me is something a zombie or not is, was it dead and then reanimated? Like that seems like the most important thing.
And that is absolutely the case with this.
Sure.
So that's
sure. Because all the other things about zombies.
What do you want to say? So as a zombie aficionado and a zombie purist, what would you like to say about the ice zombie so far?
I really liked the action. It was just it was exciting. It was scary. It was like intense. It was unexpected.
There was nothing to suggest ice zombies at this point.
Yes. Truth.
Yeah. And it gives you the chance to see Jon Snow be heroic, right?
Which is nice.
So we know he's talented, a gifted swordsman, so to speak.
That's true.
We knew that already, so that's not news. What we find out in the show in this episode is he gets the chance to endear himself to is the guy that he's caring for, like that he's essentially the valet for,
the steward for,
the steward for, is he That's like the head of the Night's Watch, right?
That's the top guy. Yeah.
Right. So he gets to so we get to see him endear himself to the head of the Night's Watch when like he basically is making lemonade in a major way.
It's true. Yeah. So his missing presumed dead uncle Benjen is so like the Night's Watch has various job titles / factions, and one of them is the Rangers. Benjen's the head of the Rangers. Then you got the stewards. Then you got the various the builders and whatever. And the guy who is in charge of all of the heads of those people is this guy Mormont, and he's his steward. And as you say, like he was upset, like I'm a steward. I wanted to be a ranger. And then Samuel Tarly says, "Hey, no, you're being groomed for the top job." Is the deal. I also like this about the Ice Zombie bit.
Although, do you think the weatherman knows that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You think he knows that he's being groomed for the top job?
Yes.
So do you think he's talking to him the way he talks to him in a hazing way, or do you think he's resentful, or do you just think he's an inexplicable jerk, and that's the deal?
Yes. Yes. All of those things. I think he's hazing because I think he's a jerk. I think he's a jerk because it's inexplicable, and I also think he realizes this guy is like half his age, a third his age, and he's going to be his boss before too long. I think
I always take mental notes whenever someone, like in my line of work, whenever someone says to me in a joking manner, like my age, like reminds me that I'm, could be their child or something.
Right.
I take mental notes.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Nice.
So
just building a list of people to kill.
Well, Andy, I am a priest, so clearly, yes, killing is a part of the job.
I mean, I've seen movies.
I mean, if they're vampires.
Sure.
I feel like in an apocalyptic future, I would be super useful, not in terms of killing anything, but in terms of, I don't know, maybe killing vampires. But
so not necessarily a list of people to kill, but a list of people that you hope turn into vampires.
I would be a way better post-apocalyptic. I would be a way better post-apocalyptic priest.
Yeah.
Than the guy on Walking Dead. I just want everyone to know that I'd be a better priest than him.
Not being a watcher of the Walking Dead television show, I have zero problem believing that.
Well, because the show is terrible.
Sure.
So the new season has started, and it's one episode in, and it's sitting on our DVR, and the wife and I are like, do we even, like, literally, we do this every season. So like the yearly tradition with The Walking Dead is like, are we gonna do this? And the only reason to do it is just like, because at some point it's gonna end, and we want to say we got through it all.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know the right answer. We did it for The Office, which the last 2.5 seasons of The Office were abysmal television. We gave up on How I Met Your Mother. Actually, she never watched How I Met Your Mother. I gave up on How I Met Your Mother, which was
solid call.
Like right after marrying my wife, moving to Cincinnati, this was the third best decision I ever made in my life, was stopping watching How I Met Your Mother.
I mean, you know that I'm very happy for you in your career, and you know that I love your wife and she's perfect for you.
But it gives everything a run for its money, does it not?
I'm not sure it's third. I'm not sure it's your third best.
Such a bad shit. It just got so bad.
So terrible.
Anyways.
I think I want to point something out.
Do.
The 8th episode of the first season of Game of Thrones is not a great episode. We can't talk about it. Like, we're not talking about it. There was
that's interesting.
Zombies, you know what I mean? Like,
you know what our friend Gray said. Gray is doing a phenomenal job of his running diary of the 8th episode in the New Timers thread. I hope if you are listening to the show, Gray, it's gray like the color, right? And Gray is well, he's a friend and he's a good man, but if you were watching this and you didn't know, we have a Project Throneway Facebook page that is co-administered by you and I and my friends Lee Hall and Annie Cumberland Elliott. So we've got some good people that are involved in this, and And we have threads for newcomers and threads for rewatchers. Gray is a newcomer to the show. His wife is a rewatcher. She's got him watching it, and he has taken it upon himself to do a running diary on the new timers or first timers thread, and it's brilliant. And one of the things he points out in the eighth episode thread is that this isn't a good episode. It is not a super watchable episode, but it is an eminently quotable episode.
Sure.
And I will say it doesn't have as high highs as the last episode, but it also doesn't have as low lows.
Sure. But when a show is as much of a beautiful disaster as this season of Game of Thrones is, as they're trying to figure stuff out, lows aren't necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I do. I'm not
You don't have to agree with me.
I don't know if I agree or disagree with you, Andy. I just realized something while you were talking. Historically on HBO,
okay,
the second to last episode of every season is the for real episode.
Is the one where
is the
stuff
is the
stuffy.
is the for reals episode.
Sure.
And I just realized that this Sunday we're going to watch the second to last episode of the season, and things are going to get real.
You know what happens in the next episode, Phil? Things get real.
It's actually, I don't know if you know this, but the next episode is called When Things Get Real.
It's true. You win or things get real.
I was going to say, I am still annoyed that they called an episode You Win or You Die.
Sure.
Like they might as well have just called an episode Game of Thrones. What's this episode of Game of Thrones called? It's called Game of Thrones. Isn't that the name of the show? Shh.
Third base. Yeah. No.
And
absolutely.
and then during the episode of Game of Thrones called Game of Thrones, someone was like, "It's a game of thrones."
and then the camera pans over to two kids playing a game where they're moving thrones around a board.
Oh man.
Anything else? Anything else about the pointy end?
Oh sure, I love Varys.
Oh,
I think I've said it already.
Yes.
This is an episode where two things happen. One is where they're clearly still not sure how to dress Varys, because there's absolutely no reason for him to be dressed the way he's dressed.
Ever in any of the scenes.
Like, it's not like wearing that somehow, like covering your head. You don't have hair, dude. Like, nothing happens. Like, there's nothing. Like him dressed like that is like, I want to say, like, give the man, he already has no testicles, give him some dignity. And from here on out, he's dressed like a total, forgive the term in this situation, baller. Like, he's a total baller. From here on out, he's dressed magnificently. But in this episode, like, they dress him like again, it's like leftovers from a BBC production. Like let's have him dress like the Sheriff of Nottingham's henchman. From the Robert Patrick version of Robin Hood.
There is another moment in this episode that I absolutely love, and I want to mention it. And I will start, obviously, by referencing the Merchant Ivory film Remains of the Day.
We were all wondering when you would.
It's true. So there's a scene. So Remains of the Day. Anthony Hopkins, butler in pre-World War II Britain. And he just has so much dignity. He has so much dignity. There's a scene. Yeah. It's a brilliant scene.
Too much dignity.
It's true. Yes. He's the Ned Stark of Downton Abbey pre-World War II. This is an extraordinarily mixed metaphor, and I don't care. And there's a scene where he is asked. He basically all of his betters are sitting around and discussing stuff, and he is asked questions about his life and about the situation in the geopolitical situation as World War II is about to happen and coming out of World War I, and through that conversation, it is so clear that he has so much more dignity than any of the people who are quote unquote better
that
than
he's serving,
him, that he is serving, and it is beautiful and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and that is the feeling I got when they forcibly retired the captain of the King's Guard.
Oh my gosh.
Barristan Selmy.
He's just like, I'm a better person than all of you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Which makes him a little bit like Ned in the sense that he's got too much dignity to understand what the deal is.
That's true.
But yes, I'm with you. But I'm with you.
It's such a great moment. It is such a great moment, and he is. It
was a great moment. It was a great moment, and I love that movie. Remains of the Day. It's, by the way, so the guy who wrote the book for that is an Englishman of Japanese descent.
Okay.
Named Kazuo Ishiguro.
Yep.
And he just won the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Yep.
He wrote. I haven't read Remains of the Day, but I read a book he wrote called Never Let Me Go, which was heart-rending. Like I finished reading it and I had to get up and go for a walk.
Vaguely.
And wonder if my life was okay. Yes.
Okay, I have not read it.
They made a movie out of it with Keira Knightley.
I heard it was wonderful.
Which I wish I could say about every book.
Sure. Yes.
Like if you were just like Crime and Punishment, they made a movie out of it with Keira Knightley.
Sure. Well, I mean, she's certainly that's not her career. She's in a lot of adaptations.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get a little bit of grief for it. She's underrated. There, I said it.
Oh, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think that's absolutely right.
No, I don't think I'll get grief from you. It'll be other people.
No, I know.
I'm not naming names,
I know.
but I'm thinking people.
Sure. Here's the deal about those people. They're wrong. They're wrong.
You're wrong, and you probably think that zombies run.
Oh, God.
Fast zombies are bullshit.
Totes.
So anyways, I think I'm with you. No, but I want to go back to Varys, okay?
Sure.
Let me be clear. Varys is my favorite character on Game of Thrones. Full stop.
Fantastic.
You begin to see why in this episode.
Okay.
And Gray's right. It's an eminently quotable episode. It's the first time you hear him say, "I serve the realm."
Okay.
Which you come to find out is 100% his guiding principle, and it's beautiful. There is a dignity and a purity to Varys. In fact, so much so that when you were talking about Remains of the Day, I thought you were going to say something about Varys.
Sure.
But he's not that kind of dignified. He actually has no interest in dignity if it doesn't serve the realm.
Okay.
Like he's like, I'll be completely undignified if it serves the realm.
Nice.
Like that's what's beautiful about it.
Okay. Fair enough.
So there's a purity to him that I really appreciate. That is betrayed by the outfit they put him in this episode. Thumbs down.
Sure.
Thumbs down.
Fair enough.
But he's the basic person who says, like, Ned, you're a dumbass.
Yes.
In the best way. Like in a way where he's not mad at him or he doesn't hate him. Like he's not being insulting. He's just like,
you stood by and did nothing. Well, yeah. Dummy. And I would stand by and do nothing again. Like, what's the matter with you?
He's like, I don't have a sword. I don't have any skills. What am I going to just fight on principle? That's what you would do. Look where you are, dummy. You did not fight honorably. He did. Right?
The operative thesis of this show so far. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. You win or you die in this Game of Thrones.
By getting stuck with the pointy end.
I really hope the very last episode of Game of Thrones, somebody says like, that was one Game of Thrones.
Right. And then like old school Simpsons style. Everyone's like, there you go. Or it's like, monorail.
That is one crazy Game of Thrones.
No, you get off stage.
Wacky, crazy Game of Thrones? In Westeros, Thrones game you.
Okay. All right, Yakov.
And with that, everyone, I'd like to say I'll see you next week, because we should stop speaking before I embarrass myself further.
You're a beautiful man, and I love you. Folks, this will bring us to the end of this Second Preface podcast, this installment of Project Throneway. Do tune in next week when I hear things get real.
The funny thing is, I don't even remember what happens, but I promise you, it's a second to last episode. Things will get real.
You know what? They do. It's true. They do. Realer than real, bruh.
That's a lot of real.
Bruh. As
you didn't even talk about seeing the full Hodor in this episode.
We did see all of Hodor.
The full Hodor.
Both the hoe and the door. All of it.
And scene.
See you next week, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Take care.
The most important meal of the day, second